All right, good evening, Who That Nation. Welcome to the WDN Chatline podcast. This is your host CB, and I'm here with my teammate WD. WD, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty all right. I guess we're gonna talk about the 2021 Saints draft class. Here we ain't gonna sugarcoat anything. We just gonna be straightforward. So let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who That Nation. I'm glad you guys can tune in tonight, and basically what WD just said, we're going to recap the 2021 draft. Now, before we get started, just like he said, we're not going to sugarcoat this. We don't think the GMs or nothing like that. But clearly, just our takeaway, we both came to an agreement that, that we wasn't satisfied. You know, with at least with the first round of the draft. But we'll get into that. And like I said, I ain't gonna disrespect no picks or nothing like that because at the end of the day, these guys didn't choose their destination. So we get into that. So let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, let's shout out the chat. I see the OG Jerry Poor in the building.
Shout out to you, Jerry.
He said, "Hey, who that's?" And then I see Byron Usan. Shout out to you, Byron Usan. Said, "Who that fam?" And I see John Thompson said, "Who that?" And we'll get back to the comment section. So basically, we're just gonna start the recap, rounds 1 through 7. We're gonna start off with our first round pick. Payton Turner was the first round pick. WD, you want to start off with your thoughts on that pick?
Yeah, I guess I can start off. Versatility definitely stands out because he can put his hand in the ground and the inside. He can even stand up on the outside. But I love his will factor. He has a better. I'm about to throw some shots, by the way, because there's this guy named Davenport. But I will say that this guy, he has that will factor more than Davenport, and he has more moves than Davenport. Will he be better than Davenport? I hope so. This is going to apply pressure on him, and let's just talk about as far as what he can do. I love the moves, man. I like the combination of moves he got, man, to get to the quarterback. I like his counter moves. He stops. He stops and sometimes he runs down the ball carrier. That's something Davenport he used to do, man. But yeah, I feel like he can do that. He doesn't give up, man. I love his motor, and yeah, man. I just love his will factor. You can tell he's definitely motivated. And that's what I like about this guy.
All right. And my takeaway from his performance, he only played 5 games in 2020. I think he caught COVID or had a contract tracing or something like that. But basically what you said, same things stands out with me. I will say he does have an 84-inch wingspan, so that's some long arms. What was interesting to me is that he played defensive tackle. I believe his first 3 years. Yeah, he played his first 3 years as a defensive tackle, and then he converted to, defensive end this past season. So he got some experience right there. I get into what I think that could be utilized on our defensive line. I believe that can be useful for us swatting the ball, but I'll get into that in a few minutes. But basically that he's a good bull rusher, but some takeaways that I didn't like. And a few scouts said that he doesn't he's not quick off the ball. He know how to use his hands and stuff like that, but he's not quick off the ball. You get one of these, fast tackles that got real good hip movement, like a guy like Teron Armstead. Those going, he could possibly have some problems. But so that's the takeaway on him as a performer. Now that I believe we should have drafted Payton Turner, absolutely not, and it got nothing to do with him. And for the ones that tuned in to our live draft, you seen our responses. I was, it kind of came off like, I was trying to downplay the guy. I wasn't downplaying the guy, but, at pick 28, there were other options there, that we definitely could have chose, and we didn't. We went with defensive end. So well, what's your thoughts on that? Well, first going at a defensive end, at
Well,
20.
first thing, one thing I want to say about this whole draft class as a whole, a lot of these players they seem very raw, and I wouldn't say polished. And I guess that's what you can say about Payton Turner. He needs time to develop. Uh, I think Saints, for the most part, they go off of that relative athletic score. The calculation of size, speed, explosiveness, and agility. So I mean, they pretty much go off that. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna say like, it just kind of does bother me that sometimes I feel like there's more polished prospects out there and they go for the raw talent, you know, guys that they have to develop. Uh, I definitely wanted Jeremiah, but Jeremiah, I heard he had I guess he had a heart condition, so that's the reason why he fell. I was thinking Asante Samuel Jr. Didn't pass on him. I'm not gonna really pay too much attention on players we didn't get, but yeah, I mean, I pretty much feel the same way as you, CB. I'm just saying that's how I see it. I just wish Saints go for the more polished players. And hey, I mean, is this to say like, hey, are the Saints not expecting to win it much this year? I mean, we'll see. Because I'm just saying, man, like a lot of these players, it just seem like they're just gonna need time.
But what's crazy to me is right the day before the draft they signed Davenport. They picked up his 5th-year option. I think that's a little over $9 million cap hit that they picked up right there. So my thing is, you going at defensive end, somebody eventually. I mean, this is a first round pick, so you see the Davenport, his handwritten is on the wall, or is it Cam Jordan?
It can be both. It can be both because remember they did sign a guy named Passing on in free agency. So I mean, and look, we got a guy named Carl Granderson that's he's stepping up this offseason. He looks like he's working real hard this offseason, and he showed some promise last season. So I would think the writing is on the wall for both Davenport and Cameron Jordan. Because I mean, as far as Cameron Jordan go, we don't really know if Father Time is catching up with him, but we'll see about that. Now, I mean, that was my whole outlook of drafting Turner because I was like, hey, we got 4 other DEs on the roster,
Yeah.
So why DE at first? Now, look, I mean, depending on how good he turns out, we're not going to necessarily always talk about, hey, man, that was a reach or so, So, I mean, if he does turn out to be good, we're not going to be looking at players as like, oh, we drafted him in that round and that round. So, if he's good, he's good.
Right. But, it was some talks that, this guy was seen as a second, maybe third round guy. If this was a guy that they like, we should have went with the position in which was a corner. They was making calls trying to get up in the top 10 for, it was said J.C. Horn or Patrick Certain. So those 2 guys was the guys they needed at corner. Boom, if you didn't get your guy there, I'm not sure how they had, Asante, Kelvin Joseph, Grant Newsom. I don't know how they had all them graded out, but you knowing corner is a position to need. Why reach? I mean, I call it a reach far as getting them too early. And I ain't saying reach far as like he tried because none of these prospects is guaranteed. They still everybody got to go out there and go eat. So ain't nothing no sure thing, but Asante Samuel, man, he was sitting on that board. Of course we both wanted Jeremiah, but after finding out, why he dropped that low, I'm glad we didn't do that. But you got Asante Samuel sitting there, Kelvin Joseph, Eric Stokes, Greg Newsom was there in the mid-20s. I'm not sure how they viewed them, but I would have jumped, about 22, 23. I would have jumped up, to get, Greg Newsome. But it is what it is. I'm just saying that at corner, man, we looking kind of rusty right there. We looking rusty, because now we're gonna get into the cornerback later, that we picked later in the draft. But that guy opted out of the 2020 season, so we really don't know what we're getting from him, what we could possibly get from him. But those other guys, they was out there eating, last year. So yeah, I was definitely pissed off about that. I believe this was the wrong pick. I'm not going to necessarily say wrong pick, but I believe if they wanted this guy specifically, we could have went with a possible Asante Samuel, Greg Newsome, and just say we stay put at 28. We had Asante Samuel right there, Eric Stokes, the names I just said. We could have got one of these guys traded up early in the second, and I believe this guy still would have been sitting there.
Yeah, and look, while we hope he's going to turn out to be good, we can't overlook the fact that this guy, he could have probably been there in the second round. I'm just saying, like, it was probably likely that he would have been there. So,
right. Then we would have had a solid corner, and not saying a Debo. We'll get into him. Not saying he will not be that, but these guys definitely stood out last year. The names that was available, but I wasn't very pleased with that. And just say Jeremiah was off the board, I would have had the same reaction because we need us a corner. And now looking back on it, Chris Hayward done signed with the Raiders. I'm not real big on Richard Sherman because the type of defense that, Dennis, he liked to play a lot of man. Richard Sherman, he thrived in, his own type coverages. So we'll see how that plays out. And any final thoughts on? I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to come off like I'm not welcoming him to the squad or he not going. That has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying I believe 28 was too early for him. If they wanted him, I believe he could have dropped a few more. He could have dropped into round 2, into day 2. They could have went up and got him, and then we would have had, a corner and then a DN. He had some history at defensive tackle, so will they play him inside? We'll see. I don't know, what they vision is for him. But Sean said he has a vision, so I don't know.
I hate that word, by the way. I hate that word when he says.
Yeah, when he talking about defense.
Yeah.
Oh man. But any thoughts on him before we move on?
Hey man, Payton Turner, welcome to the Saints, man. I hope you turn out to be a very good player and help us win the Super Bowl.
All right. And if you get 20 sacks, man, I'm gonna be sitting right here cheering. So we'll see what you can bring to the squad. Let's read a few comments right quick. Jerry Poole said, I was frustrated that night, but I'm okay now with it.
Oh yeah, he was upset, all right.
And Christopher Favor said, I don't understand why we picked up Davenport's 5th-year option. They drafted edge rusher. Davenport is always freaking hurt. Absolutely agree with that.
Well, it wasn't so much about him being hurt last year. I mean, it was production-wise as far as Davenport, though.
Yeah, because he got healthy last year.
Unless, but then again, at the start, I guess he was hurt. So maybe he had a nagging injury we don't know about. I don't know.
Right. And Brian, you said, I like the pick. Turner got size. He play outside, inside.
Very versatile.
Right. So we'll see what he can do. Far as me locking the pick, I see. It's nothing against them drafting him. It's just at the timing. This guy wasn't graded from a lot of boards and stuff as a first rounder.
Yeah.
That was just the thing with that. If he wasn't viewed like that from many people, why not just wait till day 2 to trade up and get him?
Saints really like that RAS, man. They really like that grade system. So.
Yeah. All right, so we can go ahead and move on to the second pick, Pete Warner out of Ohio State. Pete Warner played outside linebacker at Ohio State. His last year he had 54 total tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. When I look at this guy, he was able to, to me, he was flying around. That's what stands out. He's flying around the football, but when it comes to coverage, he does, lack foot speed. Sideline to sideline speed.
Mm-hmm.
So, with him lacking that, I could possibly see them. I could possibly see him, playing at the wheel position. I'm not sure because the middle linebacker has to have a lot of that. The Mario going to be right there, so I'm pretty sure his vision is going to be as an outside linebacker. I'm not sure if he's going to be starting, but you pick a linebacker this high, I'm pretty sure he's definitely going to get his opportunity. So, what's your thoughts, WD, on another Ohio State Buckeye?
Well, you know me, man. I was really, really wanting a linebacker that was explosive, that's a playmaker. A top tier linebacker, one that just jumps out on the screen. I'm talking about elite level linebacker play right next to Mario. Now, Pete Warner, he's solid at, I would say he's solid at most things. If not, he's solid at everything. Is he great at anything? I'm not so sure about that. But the fact that he's solid at everything, that's good, right? He's a decent tackler. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get the guy on the ground. I think he's exceptional in coverage. You know what I'm saying? I think he hasn't given up a ball carry. I don't think he's given up more than 10 yards in a completion. So that's pretty promising, But like you said, that sideline to sideline speed, man, that's what I really wanted. I wanted that flash, He has decent speed, though. I mean, the fact that he has decent speed, I mean, he can do some things, I would say like he might can provide like maybe a Kiko Alonso, I would want him to look, what I'm saying? I would want him to at least be as good as 2018 Alex Anzalone. So I mean that will work, That was before Anzalone he basically went down with that with another serious injury. But yeah, man, I mean the fact that he's pretty much solid at everything, I guess that's what counts, right?
Right.
But I just want to see more playmaking ability, I mean, because the fact that we've seen a guy like Quan Alexander make plays, and I'm talking about explosive jump out on tape, you don't want to go backwards. I just want to see if he can do that. I want him to take it to the next level in the pro.
Right, agreed. So we'll see. And I think that sideline to sideline speed, that's what's making him, the lack of that, that's what's making him, just be real solid at this point. Can that improve? Absolutely. We'll see what happens with that. But like you said, he's not great. He really didn't flash out great at anything, but he was just there making. You need those type of guys. You need those type of guys as well. So. That's on that. I mean, and what's your thoughts on Zach Bond? I mean, while we at it, with them drafting a linebacker that high.
Oh, this basically says that they messed up on Zach Bond. This is not to say that. This is not to talk about Zach Bond as a player. Zach Bond can be a hell of a player if we know, but we don't know that because we haven't seen him on the field. We know what his best is. His best is rushing the passer. And apparently, Sean, they see him as a guy who can play off ball and, drop back in coverage. But we know his best is rushing the passer. I think this says that they messed up. There's that word again, vision. Sean Payton, he talked about his vision for Zach Bond. I mean, hey, we'll see. We'll see how they throw him out there. But I mean, I guess I was thinking like, hey, maybe they might, put some muscle on him, man, and throw him out at edge. But I mean, we used two linebackers, so
Yeah.
I think this is very telling, bro. Like they,
Yeah. If the vision remained clear with Zach Bond, they wouldn't have went this high with a linebacker. And honestly, with us getting Pete Warner, I still don't think we should close the door on Quan. I still don't think that.
absolutely not, absolutely not.
They still need to get Quan. I mean, so we can get some depth.
Yeah,
Because if Quan is healthy in time for the start of the season, Pete Warner can definitely, sit behind him and get groomed. Because he definitely not beaten out. If Quan come back, the same way, before the injury, he not beating that out. But, if it come down to him starting, we'll see. But yeah, the linebacker position, we don't have. I guess he can be at Mike, Zach Bond if the Mario goes down. That's the only position
jeez.
I can possibly see him at. So, but Pete Warner, welcome, man. Welcome to the squad. We'll see how things go down with you. And let me read a comment right quick before we move on to the next. Crystal Favor said, I have no clue who this Pete Warner guy is from Ohio State, but that's the Saints bread and butter school, not LSU. Not LSU. Who knows?
I ain't gonna go too much because I can go all day with that one.
Right. And shout out to James Lewis Jackson. Shout out to you. Said, how do y'all like that draft pick from South Alabama? We'll get into that pick in a few minutes, fam. And shout out to you for tuning in. Okay, so our next pick, we traded up in the third. We traded up to get Paulson Adebo, cornerback out of Stanford. WD, which you want to lead us on the thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, I like this one. I really do like this one. I like the last name too, Adebo, man. I don't know, it's fun to see. Man, he's a playmaker, bro. He's a playmaker. And what I mean by playmaker, bro, he kind of plays like a receiver when he's playing cornerback. I mean, sometimes when he's running stride with a receiver, he'll reach over, he'll use his size because he's 6'1", and I think he's 198 pounds. But, he uses his length to, like, try to catch the football. Now, he doesn't always come down with the football, but the fact that, he'll make a play with the ball in the air, man, that's a cornerback we need. I will say that, man, he'll come up and make a tackle, man. You love cornerbacks that can tackle. He also plays like a safety at cornerback. I mean, like I said, man, he's a playmaker. Man, I would say that the only thing, man, that really worries me, and like I said, most of these picks, it's going to take some developmental process, but his head and his eyes, bro, that can get him into trouble, and he definitely need to, work with him on that one because, sometimes his eyes, he's looking in the wrong direction. He's looking at the quarterback, and then he lose track of the receiver, and sometimes that I guess that season after his outstanding season, I guess he was just getting beat by some guys going deep. So, you don't want that to happen, right? And not to say that about him as a player. I think he can play in the NFL. I think he can be a very good starting cornerback, but I just think it's going to take time. And the reason why I'm throwing that out there is because, hey, we might be throwing him out there, with Sean possibly getting suspended. And I'm saying, man, the Saints, they should be looking at these veteran cornerbacks, man, at least for insurance, to use as a bandit, honestly. I know Casey Hayward, he's going to wear the Raiders, and you got Richard Sherman. I know we was talking about as far as scheme go, pretty questionable, but I mean, hell, got to get, someone better than nothing, So I'm just saying, man, if they want to throw this guy out there week one, they gotta be confident in him, man. Because you know what I'm saying. Let's say he doesn't start out hot, and something bad happens, and he start looking, shaky. Then we don't want everybody to get upset, and then he start losing confidence. So that's why you got to be very careful with these cornerbacks, especially these rookie cornerbacks.
You're right. And just a note with him, yeah, he did sit out the 2020 season. Could his draft stock improve? If he would have played this season, maybe not. But if the Saints traded up in the third to get him, I'm pretty sure he probably could have been a day one guy if he would have played this season. But when I first turned on this tape, that one-handed catch stood out to me, and then I had found out, that he played some receiver. But like you said, well, really, I was listening to Mickey's press conference, and they asked him about Adebo, and he didn't sound like he was too. I mean, it sounded like he needs time to develop. Well, if he needs time to develop, then he shouldn't be hitting the turf just straight up off gate, unless he's just going into training camp, just taking off. But that response from Mickey, it sounded like, I don't forgot word from word how he said it, but it was more on the side of he's going to need time to develop. He wouldn't say that he will be the starting corner or the guy opposite Marshawn. When you kind of hesitate like that, I believe in some things. This is kind of a guy they think can sit behind somebody and get groomed. But like you said, we got veterans out. I mean, you sitting behind who? Of course, Marshawn, but who's going to be the guy opposite of Marshawn? I mean, if you want this guy to sit back and you think he can develop into something, if he doesn't take off gate, who is the option? Patrick Robinson, PJ. Like I said, Casey Hayward just got taken up, by the Raiders. And like I said earlier about Richard Sherman, of course we know the type of career he had, but I'm not the biggest fan of him at this point. Just how we run our defense. Our corners, we play a lot of man. I don't know if he'll be able to, hold it down like that, at this stage. But we'll see with that. So far as, leaving this there saying, oh, we got our corner opposite, Marshawn, I believe Mickey would have gave a more promising, response far as him, having a great chance to be that guy opposite Marshawn. So we will see. But like I said, that's just where it's at right now. The guy didn't play in 2020, so we don't know if he could have took steps. He could have took off from 2019. So, who knows? He hadn't played football in a while, so we'll see how it plays out. I'm praying and hoping this guy just get out there and take off from the jump.
Yeah, and that season that he opted out in, there was talks about him being a potential first-round pick, man. So I really hope that's his ceiling, man. I really hope he's really, really great.
Right. So we're good on him. We can go ahead and move on. Welcome to the squad. Paulson Adebo, man. I'm your biggest fan right now because we need somebody to step up, man. Because I'm telling you, the NFL gonna do Marshawn dirty. Even if things, far as from a court perspective, go in his favor, the league still gonna come down with something. We know how they feel about us, so that's the thing I'm concerned about. But welcome to the squad. Hold it down. Got them Pusha T braids, man. Show up, ready to go. Okay, now the fourth round. We get into the fourth round, and the Saints select Ian Brook out of Notre Dame. Basically, my takeaway on that is
it Ian Brook or Brook? Which one?
Is it Ian Brook?
I think it's Book.
Ian,
Ah,
Ian. Yeah, it's Ian Brook, but
Book. It's Book.
Brook.
It's Book.
Basically, yeah, basically my takeaway, man. I really didn't read too much into this pick. Basically just a pick. Maybe you can get some depth at quarterback. I mean, because we got to remember, I believe Jameis is gonna, win out the job. Yeah, just think, man, if Jameis, like I said, I ain't gonna get too much into that, but just imagine if Jameis doesn't win out this job, how that's gonna look towards him going forward. Just around the league, getting his chance. It's a good chance he won't be a starter again unless somebody get hurt. So Jameis gonna pull up the training camp, ready to go. So he gonna win that. Taysom gonna be in his Joker role. He gonna have to accept that. And then who do we got backing up? You can possibly bring in a Trevor Simeon, or can you just get a guy, mid to late round QB, and let's see what we can get from him. That's how I see. People kind of comparing him to Drew Brees. Got a birthmark under his um he got a birthmark under his eye and stuff like that. Same height, basically same size. Um, the difference between those two, Drew Brees didn't have the strongest arm, but he had a respectable arm. He could get the ball downfield. This guy, I didn't see that, in the film like that, for us him being able to stretch the field to an extent. So maybe that's something that could be worked on. A lot of scouts and stuff that I, was reading up on, they was talking about he got poor mechanics. Um, Maybe that could be it. I'm not sure, but I don't see this pick possibly being in the contention for the QB job because that's all that was coming out. Like, does he have a chance? But you can always have a situation where a guy just go in and just be lights out. But I don't see this guy being a part of the QB rotation as far as like a shot at starting.
Yeah. I guess I can just start out and say I like his confidence. He's very confident. As far as his play, he's a risk taker, man. Sometimes he'll throw some balls that's off script, and yeah, man, he'll do some things that he ain't supposed to do, man. But he's a risk taker, man. He'll run and make a play. He'll make some. He'll run outside the pocket, make a nice throw. But as far as being a risk taker, man, that's what he is. That's how I look at him, man. But I do love his confidence, man. Basically what you said, I don't really necessarily see him in the quarterback rotation now either. But make no mistake about it, the Saints, they definitely need that third quarterback because hey, Taysom, Jameis, you know what I'm saying? Let's say things don't go right. You never know what can happen, man. You never know what can happen. That's all I gotta say.
Right. And I believe that's kind of how they was looking at the situation. Will it be a part of this competition? I don't believe so. But somebody could get hurt. So you always want to have somebody ready. I want to read this comment because for favor said, Ian Brooks sounds like an author from a book.
The book of Vion,
man. Well, yeah, this guy, he broke a lot of records and stuff like that. So, Notre Dame, they was a respectable ball club, top 25 powerhouse. So, respectable ball club. But as far as him, we see, how he pans out.
And he is, I would like to mention, he is 6 foot. So, when we're talking about the birthmark and stuff like that, hey, look at that too.
Right. But yeah, to Ian Brook, man, welcome to the squad. Don't know what your role going to be. I believe it's going to be, backup having the clipboard. Take notes. Maybe you can get your chance somewhere else down the road. Or it could possibly be here if something just go completely left with these guys, ahead of you. But welcome. We'll see what you can do. Okay, now before we move on to the next pick, I would like to present to you our store that we have. So just stay tuned. All right, y'all be sure to go check out the store. I just put the link in the at the bottom of the screen, so you guys go check that out. And shout out for to Miss Carly for leading that store. Okay, now next pick is Landon Turner out of Kentucky. Oh, I knew at some point we was going to go offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. I just want to start out and say I don't really have much to say about Landon Young. I will say this though. The fact that Saints, I think Saints they are really, really exceptional at drafting offensive linemen. So I think they know what they was doing here. So that's I'm gonna just leave it at that. I don't have too much to say. I didn't feel like studying up on them because man, offensive lineman is just so boring to study. So I'm just gonna say that.
Right, and they heavily invest in so many offensive linemen coming into this draft. You know, I knew at some point they was going to get offensive linemen, but as far as them having an impact, I could see them as a possible six man or just some depth. But this guy stand out at Kentucky, um, made all conference for his school. You know, basically he's a versatile guy. Versatile guy. He can play the guard and the tackle position. So I believe that's why they looked at this guy. So basically, we see what he can do. I didn't go into too much detail with him because it was late in the draft. But what I had heard about this guy. He's very versatile. He played both positions while at Kentucky. So we see what can possibly happen with that.
Yeah, and look, we definitely need our depth at, especially tackle really because I think Ram. Somebody no, it might have been Teron Armstead that went out and Hurst he came in and filled in the role. We can we definitely need that depth at that offensive line. And hey, we don't even got Ram or Teron locked up now, so you never know what can happen in the future. So yeah, like I said, at some point they needed to take an offensive tackle. So I guess this was the time to do so. Rather that than the first round. I know we all got tired of that. So
oh yeah. So yeah, this was a lower round pick, but this guy could, potentially be in the rotation as a starter one day. Could potentially. Teron, he's not getting any younger. He's still playing at a Pro Bowl level. I think he's the top left tackle. In my books, either him or the Green Bay guy. 1A, 1B, but still playing at a high level. But contract things go left. Take this year, groom up on these two tackles. This could possibly be your spot to compete for in the 2022 season. So welcome aboard. We see what we can do with you. Okay, let's read some comments. Let's see. Cripple Favor said, "Hey, at least we didn't draft the old lineman in the first round, but then we drafted an edge rusher that we never heard of." I was like, "What the hell?"
And look, I've been making that joke. There's been jokes flying around because we know what the Saints do as far as getting offensive linemen. But who's to say that it's always offensive? It was a defensive lineman this time, man. So, man, they invest in the line a lot, man, in the first round. And by the way, when you look back at the 2019 draft class, we didn't have a first round, but guess what? They invested in Eric McCoy. with their first pick in the second round. So that says it all.
Right. Okay, and shout out to GB Barral said we still need a couple of receivers with Mike and some QBs, but we pretty good.
Yeah, we about to get at their receiver in a moment.
Okay, which brings us to our final pick, the 2021 draft, and Kawan Baker out of South Alabama. Honestly, in my opinion, as far as receiver, I honestly think that we have if we don't bring another vet in like a Golden Tate or something, I believe we could use like a Golden Tate or something like that, just a vet receiver. But I honestly think we are set at receiver.
That name you just brought up, Golden Tate. I felt like this receiver we got, he kind of got some play in him, like Golden Tate. And by the way, he wears he wears 15 at that too. So
right, but
let's get into the player because I do want to talk about a receiver, man. I do want to talk about a receiver.
But yeah, I really wasn't. I know it was a few people wanting us to get receiver early. But I thought we was so. I think we was solid at receiver. I ain't gonna say great, but Deontay Harris, he's shown kind of flashy. He got to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I believe he could be a solid, number 2 receiver or a slot receiver. And then we got Callaway. If these young bucks is eating like that at an early stage, let them rip, let it rip with them. Let them take off. Don't bring nobody in and kind of slow their production down. Let them eat. That's how I was viewing that. But to this receiver, I really didn't do too much, scouting on this guy. I just know, he's a playmaker. That's really what I seen from him. I don't think he really had a lot to stand like a thing that he done great. He's just a playmaker.
Yeah, I want to start with his strength, man. His strength. It seemed like he know how to get off tackles, man. Like he know how to get out of tackles, man. That was the first thing to stand out. He broke some tackles, and I was like, damn, okay. I see, he's gonna make the team for sure. He can get a good bit of separation. I would say he's explosive. The thing about that I like, man, he can play both the outside and in the slot. You could definitely use a receiver that can do that. He has to work on his hands, by the way. I wouldn't say his hands are 100%. He's gonna have to work on his hands. Sometimes he don't catch the football all the time, but hopefully we can get that in check, man. But this guy, he's gonna make the team, man. And this is what I'm saying. The Saints, listen, this is not a knock on Deontay Harris. This is not a knock on Marcus Callaway. Tre'Quan Smith, he needs to step up because this is his year to either show out or go out. So, but yeah, man, I just felt like we needed a number 2 receiver. We do need a number 2 receiver, and this ain't a knock at Deontay Harris. I think he's a good receiver, and I think Marcus Callaway, they are showing potential. But when you lose a guy like Emmanuel Sanders, you gotta look at more than just, having a deep threat, being able to stretch the field, If Michael Thomas, let's say Michael Thomas, he happens to get locked up or, injured, you need a receiver that's going to convert on 3rd down and 10, And I guess you can say, hey, well, then there's Kamara, then there's Adam Trautman. But when you look at somebody like Emmanuel Sanders, you need that receiver to catch immediate to short passes. And the thing about Deontay and Marcus Callaway is they get hurt very often. Now, can Kawan Baker do that? I guess we'll see. But I expect him to make the team. I'm just going to ask, what takes Saints so long to draft receivers, man? I don't think their receivers evaluation is that bad. I just think they should look for receivers more in the draft. For some reason, they just skip out on receivers. I'm like, well, what the hell are y'all doing? And I know it definitely plays a part in the offense because the Saints offense is definitely a difficult system, a hard system to learn. But yeah, man, I just like to see them go after receivers more. Now I wasn't necessarily talking about the first or second round. They could have got a receiver in the third round, Well, I'm just saying, man, it was about damn time that they got a receiver. So I'm looking forward to seeing Keywan Baker, man, because I think he looks pretty decent, man. I like this one.
Right, and somebody had asked that question about our thoughts on him. So shout out for asking that question. Okay, and I see taking V card. Shout out to you, fam. Said this season going to be weird. We've been ding and don't since 2018 to now. Excited to see more of an off. Excited to see more of an attacking offense. Hopefully. Oh
yeah, and look, I just want to go right there again. I understand about Jameis Winston. Arm. He can throw deep passes. I understand that too. I'm just looking like, at the same time though, why you do want guys that can stretch the field, and he could definitely do that with Jameis now. You just want some guys to catch some, medium. You catch some medium passes too. You know what I'm saying? Can Deontay Harris catch a ball in the middle of the field taking a hit? I'm not so sure. We'll just see. And when I say that, because I see many people compare Deontay Harris to a Tyreek Hill and a Brandon Cooks. I feel like if he gets more strength, then you can compare them. Because that's the thing about Tyreek Hill. As much as he's a smaller receiver, he has that strength. And that's one thing I would say, like Deontay Harris, he needs more of that strength to stay healthy and take those hits.
That's true. Yeah, you're right on that. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of love for Turner. It was two comments saying they love the Turner pick. We see. I mean, going before he was selected, I had no clue, who he was.
Yeah,
and it wasn't because I was just blind to the fact. Like I don't want, like I'm 10 toes down in college football, but defensive end, I didn't take one peep at that position because I just knew that we, even though with Trey leaving, I knew we was gonna
hey,
get
listen.
some depth. And we got some depth. We got Carl Granderson.
Yeah. Listen, you could have took a look at defensive end. You wasn't gonna know who Payton Turner was.
No. Just keeping that high, no. And then he only played 5 games, and once again, it's no knock on Payton Turner. Payton Turner, man, he might come in here and give 20 sacks, not give up 20 sacks, but apply 20 sacks. Man, if he do that, that's a definite win. But I still believe we could have got him along with Asante Samuel Jr. I believe we could have got both of them. We could have waited to early day 2, traded up to go get Turner.
I'm gonna stop bringing it up. Because it hurts when you think about after the case, man.
Yeah. But this is the players we got, so we just gonna have to rock with them. And shout out to USMC who that said, I'm looking forward to that giant offensive tackle from Kentucky once we get him up to speed on pass blocking.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely got time to develop behind 2 Pro Bowl tackles, so he don't have no excuse.
They have my full trust when they get offensive linemen in the draft. I just don't like it being the first round because I get tired of this stuff when we got starters already.
Right. Okay, so we get into I'm gonna just name out. I didn't do no scouting on the undrafted free agents, but I'm gonna just read them out. We got Trill Williams, safety out of Syracuse. Been a lot of talk about him. Dylan, can't pronounce his last name. I'm gonna go with Schoner, tight end out of Iowa State. Nolan Cooney, punter out of Syracuse. Bryce Thompson, cornerback out of Tennessee, and Lawrence Woods, cornerback out of Truman State. So if anybody in the comment section know anything, about those guys besides Trill Williams, I believe everybody know about him.
Mm-hmm.
He one of the guys. I'm not sure exactly why he didn't get drafted, but he's one of the guys that everybody is talking about. He's the hot topic of the undrafted free agent class. So could he be here to possibly replace Malcolm Jenkins? Going forward, we'll see if he come in here and eat. Come in here and eat. He can do that. But what stands out to me is the two corners. When I see corners, you know, whoever we pick with Paulson, Bryce Thompson, and Lawrence Woods, I'm just praying that one of those guys just stand out this year. We're gonna need that. Even if we get us a solid corner, I'm saying I hadn't looked at the free agents this level. I just know Casey Hayward got picked up. I'm not all that sold on Richard Sherman. Like I said, I won't be pissed if we sign him, but I won't be jumping for joy either because I don't know what we're going to get. But
yeah, and I know a lot of people. I'm just me personally. I just don't look at the undrafted like that and choose one over the other because you know what I'm saying. A lot of times there's times where we go crazy about these undrafted guys, and turns out one doesn't make it, and then the other guy that hasn't been getting spotlight the whole time actually makes the team. Now it sometimes does work out. Somebody like Deontay Harris, Deontay Harris, he was getting a spotlight from the jump as far as an undrafted go. But then you look at names like Emmanuel Butler, he was getting all the shine at camp, and never really made the team, never played the game. And turns out Lil Jordan Humphrey, who also has potential, he showed out. And I'm just saying, we have these undrafted cornerbacks. I know we're looking at them now because, hey, we need depth at cornerback. And then you got names that's forgotten. Remember the name that most people was excited about? Akeem Washington? Yeah. We forgot about that name, man. What happened? So, I mean, hey, that's why I don't really look at undrafted too much because it's like I don't want to just choose one undrafted guy just over the other because you never know. Even if their names are big, man, you just never know who makes it and who shows out.
All right. So we can read a few more comments and then we can go ahead and wrap this up. USMC said Turner is a project. He is a huge human with a 7-inch wingspan. Coach him up. I don't like that word project because I don't believe we should be going after project players, in round one. So I'm expecting this guy to have some type of impact. Not no project. We got a project currently on the roster that we don't know what we're going to get from him. We seen flashes of him. Then he come back healthy last year. Marcus Davenport was healthy and didn't give us nothing. He was giving some good pressures. I give him that, but we've done all that trading up for him to put his hands on the quarterback.
Yeah, and he don't even got no moves, man. He just bull rushing, man.
Yeah. He have a hell of a bull rush. The same with this Payton Turner. Yeah, he have a hell of a bull rush too, but it gotta be a little bit more than that. Payton Turner can work his hands, but he gotta be more explosive off the ball. He gotta get a quicker start because these athletic tackles, they more athletic, more faster and quicker. You're gonna get caught up in their arms. So okay, Clean Johnson said every draft and signing was great. We see. It ain't no draft pick guaranteed. All these draft picks may go out there and take off. We'll see.
Yeah, for real. Prove us wrong. That's
right.
Prove us wrong. Shoot.
And I'll say this right quick, and then we can wrap it up. As far as we got people that say just trust Sean and make it that when you say stuff like that, which we had no choice but to hope they make the right decisions and stuff, and hopefully it plays out. But when you say a comment like that, I just advise everybody to keep that same energy when we passing 35 times and Latavius Murray getting 2 touches a game. So I'm just saying, we gotta be careful when we say let's just. Of course, we hoping that Sean and them make the right moves and stuff, but can't say just trust them. It's gonna turn out. What we hoping it does, but we got the right to be critical if we feel like we need to, because it was some times that he could have ran the ball some in games and stuff. But when you say stuff like that, you got to keep that same energy with every situation, not picking and choosing. So you just got to keep that in mind when we say, we gonna be fine. Just trust, just trust the coaches and all that. When you say the comments along those lines, we got the right to be critical or not. Even if we right or wrong, it is what it is. Well, I want all these picks to be successful. So, but any final thoughts, WD, on the draft class?
Hey man, I hope this draft class works out. I mean, like I said, man, this was a make or break if we want to be good this season. So I guess we'll see. Who we think that might need some development, man. They might show up. They might be more ready than we think. We don't know. We'll see. I just want to say shout out to the chat. I see we had a lot of comments. Thank y'all for tuning in. And yeah.
Right. Yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in. A lot of comments, a lot of activity in the comment section. We love that. We love the interaction. We usually have the phone lines open, but we won't have it open tonight. We have it open next week. So next week is the NFL draft release. So you guys please tune into that. We are be going live with that. Not sure if we're gonna go live during the release. Probably not. We'll probably just give our thoughts on the NFL schedules. Date and time, who we playing, who win. Because all that plays a factor. If you 10-0 and then you got 4 rough schedules, 4 rough games ahead. Just stuff like that.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I'm just gonna say it now because I guess that's the next time we'll be on, which is after the schedule. We know we playing the Bucks week 1. Let's be real. We got Jameis. We playing the Bucks week 1. If I'm wrong, I might be shocked, but yeah, we playing the Bucks week 1. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'll be shocked on that because I believe they want to see. We stomped them twice, and then this third game it was kind of like. It was just hard to beat Tom Brady 3 times. So this game gonna kind of see like it's gonna show a lot for our team too. It's gonna be a test. Because, I'll be shocked if we don't get that week 1 game with them. But it'll kind of show the direction of our team. Where we're heading. So and once again, tune in. That's on May 12th. So let's see. It'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday. Just keep in touch with the community tab. We'll post the date and time there. Once again, shout out to everybody on all platforms. As far as my film room sessions, check episode 1 out. I took a 2-week break from that because of the draft. The draft was the hot topic, so I didn't want to interfere with that. I know everybody was excited about that, but now that the draft is over and has winded down, I will get back started with my film room sessions. They're going to be dope, so you guys just tune in, and as each episode goes, it's just going to get better and better. So be on the lookout for episode 2 at sometime next week. If that's it, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Who Dat Nation, stand up. This is the WDN Chatline podcast, and we are out. Who Dat?
For life.